Probably you just never have no
Right?
lyrics.
No, but that me go tell you no. So in the car talk, I say, I don't know what come over me, but I want you to be my wife.
Mhm.
I say I want to grow old and grey with you. That's woman on the lyrics. I say I want to grow old and grey with you. I may tell her some things. Let me feel like Solomon the night. You understand?
Mhm.
So what me say, just think about what me I say. I may open the door. She say, no. You can't say all of that and just leave me like that. So long and short of it, I tell her to think about it, pray about it. I leave it alone because it was nothing forceful.
Welcome to another episode of the Art Podcast, and I'm your host, Brandon Frenzy Inc. And today we have in studio a very special guest who goes by the name of Sir Ryan Mark.
Blessings on
Pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Pastor Ryan Mark, also entertainer. Welcome to the Art Podcast.
Alright.
So today, we'll start with you giving us your journey into becoming a gospel artist and also a minister. Share with the people.
Well, you know, what I mean, from a very young age, I know that I wanted to do music.
Mhm.
You know, my father was a man that kept a lot of dance. And when I talk about dance, I talk about real dance.
Mhm.
I talk about Song Clash, Exodus versus Super Saint, Kilimanjaro. So
Yeah.
I grew up in that environment. So I knew from a tender age that I wanted to be an artist, right? And that has never changed. I used to attend Calabar High School, and I remember when we used to have mentors, like Old Boys Association pass through,
Mhm.
and they would ask like, what you want to be in the future? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would get up and say my name is Ryan Mark Reynolds, and in the future I'd like to become a doctor, but that was a lie. You know what I mean? Because going to high school, how do you tell them that you want to turn DJ? So like you go waste your life.
Right.
You understand? But in my heart, I know that I always wanted to do music. However, at the age of 14, right, this is when I was making a transition now from first form to second form while going to high school. Within that summer period, I gave my heart to Jesus Christ. And I mean, some are going and some are nice. And there's some nice girl there at church. So we go to church, I go check out the girl then, right?
Yeah.
And I heard the word of God, and I gave my heart to Jesus at the age of 14.
Mhm.
It didn't change the mindset that I wanted to do music. It just only means that the music we're going to do, you're going to have to reflect Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
right? So that's how I got involved with gospel music. So, of course, going to Calabar High School, I was writing my lyrics and all of these things, and I just couldn't wait for school done. Like, we just go fifth form and graduate,
Mhm.
so I could just do music. And I have to say thank God for my parents, because they never stopped us as children in doing what we wanted to do once and on nothing
Violent.
violent or illegal or nothing like that.
Right.
So I remember graduating from high school, and I said, Mom, here I go. I'm going to take my cut out for the school life.
Mhm.
I beg you, give me 1 year with music. And if it don't work, I'll go back to school.
Mhm.
And the 1 year I took after high school to get involved in music, I started to make a name for myself. And that's it. I've been doing music ever since.
Okay, so becoming a pastor while doing music, how you transition into doing that?
Well, you know, I mean, the transition from music to the pastoral came about, about 15 years after or something like that. So it's not like it was an overnight thing. You know, traveling the world and doing music. If I was called out by a pastor or a prophet to give me a word, it's always that God has called you to do more than music. You know what I mean? At the time, you're young, you love music,
Mhm.
you know? So, I not think about being a pastor, right? My thing is that me do music and music nice right now.
Mhm.
In the back of my head, I was saying that if I'm going to become a pastor, that I probably like when me are 50 or somewhere down the road, me an old man, you understand?
Mhm.
But many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the purpose of God that prevails.
Right.
So at 29, I felt the calling. Like God was saying, I'm calling you to more, right? And you know, when God is leading in a different direction, Him allow certain things to just kind of slip up to get your attention.
Yeah.
And I guess a slip up for me is that the gospel industry don't work like outer road. You understand? God thing has to be pure. It is not a money driven world. It's really by His Spirit led type of thing. And the fact of the matter is this: I would have made my name in gospel music. I would have done all the major concerts and all of these stuff in Jamaica, but it felt like I had this big name, but my pocket nah show feet.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality about it is that when you do gospel music, there's not a lot of money to be paid,
Right.
right? Churches will call, everybody want to put on a church roof, everybody want to pave a driveway. So you realize that you have this name, but everybody's calling you, but them ask you a favor. Everybody ask you for a charity event.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, God, how do I take care of my family if it's all charity me go do? So the reality about it is this: I was at a place where I felt like I was prostituting the gospel. And what do I mean by that? It wasn't about where God wanted me to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's about who pay me the bigger money.
Right.
But then what makes you different from how the world give you things? Right? Because the world kind of move by a war give you the food and this is where I go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? So at this point now I say, God, I can't live my life away because it feel like I'm not moving by where you want me to go. But the money I dictate where me for go. So at that point I took a step back. I'm gonna say, God, this can't be my life. And it was in that moment I felt like He was calling me to the pastoral. Now, in the back of my head, I said, but what difference does it make? I say, pastors, and it come like them now live no farmer life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was about obedience. And I answered the call, and I've been a pastor now for 10 years.
Okay, so what church have you been a pastor at?
Okay, so I pastor Pure in Heart Ministries International. I'm the founder of the church. I'm the lead pastor of the church. Like I said, we have been in existence for 10 years. God has given me a beautiful set of people. Everything that I wanted in music, I got out of the church. I always wanted a people to support. I have that. I always wanted a people that believe in who I am and what I do. I get that in the church. I love them. Them love me. It works.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your album.
Okay, well, recently I released an album. It's titled Milestone. It's actually my fifth studio album.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? My first album was in 2005, The Chosen Prodigy. 2008 was Tabernacle. 2011 was Israel. 2018 was Your Grace. And then with the 2024,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I just released the Milestone album. Um, it's a boy, God in the album. I just took 2 months to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality about it is that being a pastor for the last 10 years, I've not been recording music as frequent as I used to.
Okay.
Because it's only fair for me to give the church and the people attention because music had my attention for so many years.
Right.
However, I felt in this season God was saying that I'm going to give you some music
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to be focused to get it done. So I spoke to the church and said, guys, here I go. I'm going to make some music. Give me 2 months off of the platform
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to do this album. So this album is special to me because it was done in 2.5 months,
Okay.
right? And it's a 12-track album. I have producers on it like Slider, who is sitting right here.
Yeah, big up
You
Slider, a big
understand?
producer,
Yeah,
also
man.
sponsor. Slider the Wizard Music.
Yes, man. So Slider is a good friend of mine, and
Mm-hmm.
funny enough, Slider may not know this, but him kind of get the whole album started because
Oh.
when I felt the nudge, like I needed to do this album, I was like, all right, God, which producers do I go to? And I could hear in my spirit Slider. I called Slider, said, Slider, I need you to produce 2 tracks. No, we need you to produce some music for my album. And Slider said to me, where one? You want to produce 1 or 2 songs? You want to produce the whole album? I said, no, we just want 1 or 2 tracks because I have other producers as well. But what blessed me is just to show me how willing he was.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So Slider produced some tracks. I have Danny Brownie, who is a legend in music, right? Produced some tracks as well. I have DJ Tropical, I have Mario Lawrence, and DJ Shane. Right, so it's a 12-track album. It's a mixture of everything. You have dancehall in terms of the rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
dancehall. You have one drop reggae. You have acoustic. You have Afrobeat.
So what's the leading track on the album?
Right now is a lead single, Jackpot.
Jackpot.
Yeah.
Well, make the people that know what Jack Shop is.
Ah,
Shop is at the jackpot.
yeah, Jackpot. We're not talking about gambling. I just want you to know that.
Jackpot,
It's
not cash pot.
really no, not cash pot. It's really a metaphor, and it's really talking about giving my heart to Jesus Christ, and that when I give my heart to Jesus Christ, that's a jackpot for me. It's not about money. Just a
Mm-hmm.
mere fact that God sent his son Jesus Christ to die on the cross for my sins, and I can receive salvation through the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made. Nobody can tell me nothing. They hit the jackpot, right? So that is the whole essence of the song.
Yeah. So all right. So Slider, the how many songs does Slider has produced?
Slider have 3 songs on the album,
Mm.
right? With Me featuring Latoya HD. Work on Me, which was the second single that I released before the album release, and Celebrate Me Now.
Okay. So other producers. What other producers have you have worked with in the industry?
Over the years, I've worked with a lot of producers. You know, I mean, I've worked with Ramesh over the years. Um, I've worked with Neil Ellis back in the days. I can't remember everybody, you know, but I work with people, man. I work with
Okay.
producers.
All right. So yeah, the concert, Pure Fest. You
Pure
wanna
Fest, right?
elaborate on Pure Fest? Tell what going on with that now.
Yeah, Pure Fest was a blessing. It was the first staging, right? And it was also the platform to launch the Milestone album. So it was like a two-in-one,
Okay.
right? Because the album is titled Milestone, and it's very significant because it marks over 20 years of music that I've been doing, and it also marks 10 years of the pastoral, right? So we did Pure Fest as a big celebration, but also it was a charitable event. Now, Pure in Heart Ministries as a church, we live to be a blessing to others. People cuss church all the time. Say, all church don't take people money. And everybody slap at the church for everything, but them don't say the good that the church do. Because last year alone, we gave away over 2 million Jamaican dollars publicly, just to different people, organization who are in need. And let me tell you this, it's not about people that suffer. Giving don't have to be about people who suffer all the time. It could be that you're doing a podcast and we see that you're doing a great job and you probably just need like a boost, and we decide say we want for so
Oh,
seed
so
here.
Bossy podcast, so
Right?
right, yeah.
So we just say here we go. We want to help you to fulfill your dream and your vision. And that's what the giving was about. It was about identifying people who had talent and gifting, but them just really just don't have the money to do it. And we said, let's see how we can help you to get it off ground. You understand? So it's about seeing the potential and helping people. So we did that last year. So when we did Pure Fest, it was so that we could raise funds to even do it in a greater way. And I'm going to show you this because gospel events don't get a lot of support. So we fund the event ourselves. I can't even tell us how we make a profit. But the event was great. We had about 600 people, right? The event was great in terms of production and everything. But even though we did not make what we want to make, it never stopped us from giving. I'm sitting here with you this evening, but earlier today we just gave away $250,000 to Lieutenant Stitchy. And for people who may not hear, Lieutenant Stitchy is basically not well right now, right? And when we heard that he was not well, we are saying, how can we sit back as a church? And especially for me, who I'm a musician, and what Stitchy has done, not just for gospel music, but just for reggae and dancehall music over the years. Like, come on, Stitchy is an icon, right? And now he's in need and help, and his family made a public plea for help. Then we had to step to the plate. So this morning we hand that over, not because for sure, but we want people to know that the church is here for Stitchy. And also, we're encouraging you guys to also be a part of his rehabilitation.
Right. So talk about marriage life now. What is like being married, a pastor and an entertainer?
I've been married now for what, 17 years? I got married at 21, right? So it's 17 years of marriage. Marriage is a blessing. It's an institution set up by God. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have arguments or quarrels, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, when you have two different persons from two different upbringing, two different mindset, you know what I mean? You're going to have differences, but it's about the compromise, you know what I mean? Um, where do we meet each other where it doesn't stop you from being who you are and it doesn't stifle me from being who I am? You understand? So, marriage has taught me a lot of lessons. I love my wife, and yeah, I wouldn't change anything about it. You know what I mean? It's been a learning experience, and every day I learn something new. I think after 17 years, I stop learning. No,
So yeah.
you're still learning something new.
So then again, what it is like married to a celeb, because a lot of people do know who Chrissy D
Chrissy
is.
D. Yeah. You know what I mean? I guess to people who are supporters, they see her as a celebrity. But for me, Chrissy, I down at Reynolds, I'm a wife. I love her. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? She do music, me do music. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like say, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There's this fun type of vibe. There's a supportive type of vibe because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to support my wife. She's supposed to support me. You know what I mean? But she is a lovely individual. She has a beautiful voice. You know what I mean? That she need to use up a little bit more down it. Like, come on, you need to do the thing. You have me out there singing. I'm gonna quarter the voice. So you have, come on down it, do the thing, do the thing. You know what I mean?
Check
But
slider.
yeah, man. But you know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. We have three beautiful kids. You know what I mean? And there's no complaint. It is what it is. Yeah.
Alright, so what advice you would give out there to marriage couples
Mhm.
and what to do to keep the relationship spicy alive and to always be flourishing?
You know what I mean? If you can love your spouse as yourself, you can't go wrong. You understand? I think the problem we have is that a lot of people don't know how to love themselves. So in return, them don't know how to love themselves. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? But if we can treat our spouse in the way that we would want to be treated, then you realize that you will have a great marriage. So I don't want you hurt me, and I'll hurt you.
So
You
how did
understand?
you meet Chrissy D?
I would have known Chrissy from music over the years, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I saw her in person was at the same Danny Brownie studio because Danny used to run Main Street Crew, Red
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Rat,
yeah, yeah.
Movie
Red Rat
Archive,
can,
all of
yeah.
that. She
Mm-hmm.
was a part of that. And then when Danny got saved, Danny was basically like my producer as a gospel artist.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I was by Danny house, I saw her. It was more of like an iron by type of thing. But I remember I was going through a season where I felt like God wanted to take me to the next level, but I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't go there without a wife. I mean, I said, God, I feel like a wife time now. And then out of the blues, you know what I mean? And like when a light bulb go off, I mean, say, no, Chrissy D is a nice girl. And them time there, they had one Nokia 3310, 3310
Mm-hmm.
man, them time
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And I had her number, and it must be the spirit of God come over me. I just text her the night. I'm gonna just ask her for my wife. It's a very weird way to make a proposal. But you know what I mean?
You
Whenever
just text her, ask if your wife, no, let's go out, no.
no, no dates, no hug, no kiss, nothing at all. Just ask her. And
And what was the response?
well, I'm gonna tell you because Chrissy is somebody where she always be talking about God. She love God, and
Mm-hmm.
if you meet Chrissy now, I'm sorry if you hear about God from now till the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So when I sent her the message, um, about 4 or 5 early in the morning, I got a reply,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that if I remember correctly, the text was saying that Ryan, I believe the devil has come in and we have to put him out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But in all honesty, we just laugh because me I say this is a typical Christian language. However, she couldn't get over the fact that this guy don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not know someone and you ask for their hand in marriage?
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day, I used to keep this concert called Operation Consecration. And at the time, we would have had a collab together, a song called I Love You, Lord. And she was to come to the concert for us to do the collab together. So this was the first time we're going to see each other
Mm-hmm.
after I would have sent the text.
Mm-hmm.
So when the concert done, my parents were there because my father is a man, him run him jerk chicken and them thing. Them the day of the event time I do him jerk chicken and thing. And I gave them my vehicle and said, wanna drive that home. I could drive with Chrissy. Cause she said we need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So at the time I living with my parents, she drive me to my parents' house and we're in the car and talking. And she said, I don't understand. Why would you send me a message like this?
Probably just never have no
Right?
lyrics.
No, but I that me go tell you no. So in the car talk and I say I don't know what come over me, but I want it to be my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I say I want to grow old and grey with you. I woman on the you understand? I say I want to grow old and grey with you. I may tell her some things like me I feel like Solomon the night. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what me say, just think about what me I say. I may open the door, she say, no, no, no. You can't say all of that and just leave me like that. So long and short of it, I tell her to think about it, pray about it. I leave it alone because it was nothing forceful. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So after I would have said that to her, probably about a week or so, 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I got a call. Well, I saw my phone ringing and it was her calling, and all I could hear, yes, yes, yes. So she said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like November, December, January, February 14th of
Valentine's
the,
Day.
the, the year. So it was like 4 months later,
Mm-hmm.
and we were married.
Yeah.
And we're here 17 years, going on to 18 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would tell people, well, looking back, I would say that's a recipe for disaster. Because how do you ask somebody hand in marriage? You don't know them good nor bad ways because you have not had time,
Mm-hmm.
to spend with that person. But I believe certain things are just orchestrated by God, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe that our union was orchestrated by God. I'm not going to tell nobody to do it that way there, because you have some mad people already understand if you know what you sign up for. However, it worked for us, and
Mm-hmm.
what worked for us may not work for everybody.
True, true, true. So where is Chrissy now?
Chrissy resides in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chrissy and the children are in Canada. I'm in Jamaica, and I'm here because God wants me here, so I do the back and forth.
So does distance affect the relationship in any
Uh,
way?
it puts a strain on it sometimes, to be honest with you. But because I know that God has us at this place, and I think she has grown to accept that God has
Mm-hmm.
us at this place, we don't necessarily have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we'll miss each other. Yes, it make it difficult. But sometimes when we reason with them, I say, down it, look at this. I see a lot of couples around us. Them just don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Them divorce and go about them ways. And I'm not saying that we're exempt because we have to put in the work for make sure so we keep the things together. But
Right.
the point I'm trying to make to her is that people are live together and them not make it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been apart living this way for 9 years. And we're still together. We're still on good terms. We still speak well. Our children is intact. Our household is intact. And this is it. When God has called you to something, God will preserve the family. So more than even me and her effort, I believe that God has preserved us. I'm not where I go. Look here, next year I'm 40. I'm not time to meet a new body. I'm not the energy for them things there.
Mm-hmm.
So I make a commitment for life. So until that do us part.
All right. So I got to touch a very important topic right now,
Mm-hmm.
where you have a platform for address it. Probably have addressed it before, but you have a major platform to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Appearance as
Okay.
a pastor, where the ear, the earring,
Mm-hmm.
the swag. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, you're clean like Jesus police record.
Mighty God.
Have you ever been criticized about?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. You know what I mean? In the early days it would bother me, but at this stage of my life it doesn't.
So you
Because
have to say to
people
people about that.
oof, boy, I don't want to be rude, so I'm thinking before I answer.
Mm-hmm.
But put it this way, we're all entitled to our own opinion,
Mm-hmm.
right? It may not be your style and it may not be for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that God has called me for a specific set of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back in the day, like 2011, 10, 11, I used to have locks. Like, I used to have
Mm-hmm.
locks as a gospel artist. And when I was sporting the locks, some church never want me in there. Some events don't book me no more because they feel like, say, me no know, they probably think I'm gone away. What? But the fact of the matter is this, God has a plan for everything. And even in that season, I realized that I reached more people who had locks and who were wearing earring at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe what message came across to them is like, if the youth have locks, I'm wear earring. And he must say Jesus Christ. Why can't I say Jesus Christ too?
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you know who God has called you to, you don't pay attention to noise. Because even when you have your hair cut the right way,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the earring, I'm going to find something else to pick on. So the fact of the matter is, you will never be able to please people.
Mm-hmm.
So at this stage of my life, I just live my life to please God. However, there are times when the Spirit of God will say to me, take out your earring. Like, you probably have him want me to do a recording about a specific thing, him tell me take them out. When he say take them out, me take them out because he's trying to say to me, he said the message I'm going to bring, me don't want this to be a distraction to people. So I
Mm-hmm.
will take it out. So when he says, me operate. And if I take out my earring, it doesn't make me less anointed. If I sport a haircut like you, it doesn't make me less anointed.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to reach a place where we don't judge people based on their outward appearance or how we think they're supposed to look.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Bible says to dress modest. So you're not gonna see me wear certain things.
Right.
Right? And it comes down this to it comes down to well, it comes down to this for me. You see, once God says, son, I'm good with you, I'm good. So once my wife good and my kids good, everything else I brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So it is well.
All right. So Jamaica is known for a vibrant festival and concert. So what is the difference between gospel events then versus now?
Gospel
Like
events then.
Fun in the Sun,
Mhm.
then compared to now.
You know, I mean, Falling Sun has been around for years. The energy is pretty much the same. I believe that the artists that we had back then was a little bit more solid in terms of
Delivery.
delivery and word.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I think we spent a little bit more time being discipled by the likes of Danny Brown in terms of how to dress,
Mhm.
how to conduct a proper presentation, and also how to have fun doing it, but at the same time making sure that the ministry is in it. So when we wrote songs back then, we had to think twice or thrice before we put certain words or lines in it.
Mhm.
Them I used to nowadays tell everybody a box and I kick devil in the face and a bag of things, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And we just have to be a little bit more mindful in how we construct our lyrics
Mhm.
to make sure that it has weight to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we do have some solid young artists on the scene like Prince Saj, you know what I mean? We
Mhm.
have John Mark Wigan and some others who are coming up now that are doing a very good job in
So, what's
representing
your
the
take
gospel.
on hardcore gospel music?
I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? We have people to say that dancehall, there's no such thing as reggae dancehall or reggae gospel. Fact of the matter is, I never hear an instrument cuss about with it.
Mhm.
You understand? It's
Mhm.
our culture. You
Right.
understand? I was born in Jamaica. Whether I like it or not, ackee and saltfish is our national dish. Likewise, reggae and dancehall is our culture.
Mhm.
Now, what makes it gospel is not the rhythm, it's the message. Because the message of the gospel is about the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ and everything else that the Bible speaks about. So once we are speaking that on the rhythm, then I don't see a problem.
All right. And so, what message you hope to send out, using your music and also being a pastor to your audience? What the message you try to get out there?
Love, that's number one, because love covers a multitude of sin. Hope, because we're living in a time that people are very hopeless. And three, repentance. You understand?
Mhm.
Because God so loved the world that he sent his only son to die so that we may have life. And not just have life, but have it in abundance. You know what I mean? Sometimes people say, how could a good God just send people go to hell? The fact of the matter, God don't send people go to hell, you know, we send ourselves.
Mhm.
Because he has set the grounds that any man comes through the Son, he will be saved. So when we reject Jesus, you understand? We are setting up ourselves to be hellbound, right? Because God is love. So it's no different than me being a father and I see a socket over there and I tell my son, do not put your hand there, it's going to shock you. The fact of the matter isn't, I can go over there, it's going to shock him. I never me do it to him,
Right.
right? It
Mhm.
was his choice, right? So the fact of the matter is, we are really doomed by choice,
Mhm.
right? Because God already set the order and we just need to follow his order. And once we're in his order, we'll be good and we'll be protected. And once we come out of him order, anything can happen.
All right. Good. So, you can share any personal experiences where your music or ministry made a profound impact on somebody's life or any entity in Jamaica.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, we get testimonies all the time from songs that we do as gospel artists, and I would have heard it from many people. Like, you know, I mean, I have this song called "Cry" that basically speaks to people who die without Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
And I would have heard testimonies of people saying, wow, that song really touched me, it really made me look into myself and realize that to live a life and not accept Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior would have been a wasted life, right? And since we're down the road of cry, years ago I did this song called Weep. Weep was written when Chrissy and I we lost our first child,
Mhm.
right? And in the song Weep, it was given just the journey of my expectation having my first child. Like, yeah, God, we can't wait to see that baby, but then we lost a child.
Mhm.
And then the message in that song that is really a blessing to a lot of mothers who would have had miscarriages and stuff like that is that the song healed them. And the part of the song that really brought healing to their life is in the song. I remember saying, Lord, I give you thanks for the 3 days I saw my daughter live. I'm never have to see her at all.
Right.
You know, I give you thanks for the one time I saw her open her right eye because when the baby was born, she was born premature Ruth. And I just never saw her eye open. And the moment I said, God, why don't I see this child eye open, that right eye open one time and look at me and close back? Because the Bible says, give thanks in everything. So I looked at the situation, and even though we lost a child, I say, you know what? I can give thanks for these 3 days that I saw my daughter. I give you thanks because I saw her hands and her feet moving. Because the Bible says, give thanks in everything. So when we go through things in life, it's about perspective, right?
Mhm.
So a song like that would have brought healing and deliverance to many.
Okay, good. So what advice you would give to aspiring young gospel artists in Jamaica who want to blend their faith with their musical passion?
Read the Bible. Read the Bible. Because if you read the Bible, you will construct better songs. And we have to remember that gospel music is not about a forward. If a forward we do it for better, we're just gonna sing secular music. It's about ministry,
Mhm.
right? I'm not saying people are not going to create a certain form of hype and stuff, especially if they love the songs or the songs are popular. But we don't do it for the cheers. We do it to fill the cheers, right? So that we can win souls to the kingdom of God.
Mhm.
So young aspiring gospel artists, reading the Bible, spend time in prayer. You understand? If we don't utilize these tools that God has given unto us, we're just wasting time.
Mhm. So here's a question that I want to ask you. You as a younger pastor and not so much of a traditional pastor,
Mhm.
do you bring more younger generation of people inside your congregation, or does your music goes to younger people listening ears?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, I have a very mixed congregation, but mostly of young adults. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Meaning anywhere between the ages 24 to about 44, somewhere in there. So that's the mass that I pull.
Mhm.
However, I still pull some older people, like I've baptized persons who are 70, 71. you know. So because of my youth, it's going to pull a particular set of people,
Mhm.
right? And I just stay in my niche. And I mean, I can't save the world. There are people that are going to respond to your voice and not mine.
Mhm.
You understand? So for me, it's about playing my part and to reach those who God has anointed me to reach.
Okay, so those people who come to your congregation, you tell them to come as they are, so they dress and with the earring and everything. So everybody is just freely welcome.
Yeah, well, put it this way: the come just as you are is really for unbelievers,
Mhm.
because you can't really tell an unbeliever what to do if that's not where they're at mentally.
Mhm.
So the fact of the matter is, if I have a young lady coming in a short skirt and she don't know Christ, we can never judge her. We can look at her like, oh, dear she. That's where she's at. Probably that's all she has to
Mhm.
wear. My thing is that I'm happy that you are here, because now that you're here, it gives us the opportunity to reach you in a deeper way. So when that person now accept Jesus Christ, you don't even have to tell them, because now they would have invited the Spirit of God to live on the inside of them. So by nature, they must say, I don't want to wear this to church anymore.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we have to allow people to go through them process. Sometimes we as Christians, we are trying to bully them. But you have to allow people to have their walk with God. However, if you are a Christian and you're a seasoned Christian,
Mhm.
me not expect you to come in a church in a belly skin. It not gonna work.
Right.
And them know, so me go look and say, that can't work. I have to know better than that. But at the end of the day, once the body parts are covered and stuff like that, no, we still do it in a style, because you don't have a show body part to do it in a style. You still can put on a red bottom and all of them things and look nice and
Right.
all of those stuff and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's why it's important for everybody to have a relationship with God. Because when you have a relationship with Him, you can put on certain things. But put on certain things already. And the Holy Spirit said, your pants too tight.
Mhm.
You understand?
Right.
And we just take it off and put on something else.
Mhm.
You understand? And we just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're at a section of the program right now where we're gonna ask a question where it's gonna be very much exclusive on the Yard podcast that you've never told anybody. Probably Chrissy never heard it before.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we're gonna ask, tell us here for the first time exclusively on the Yard podcast something that you've never ever shared with anyone before.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to tell you. Because my life is an open book. That is number
everybody,
one.
everybody come for the Yard podcast.
No,
Always gonna say them life is an open book.
no. Well, let me done talk. Number one, my life is an open book. And If I can't tell you,
Mm-hmm.
you're not supposed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. It's not everything can be told. Mhm.
So you just now go talk your secret.
No, it's not everything can be told. Even certain past experience, sometimes they can't share it until the person not on the face of the earth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll share stuff and you'll hurt families.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So there are certain things that has to just be kept quiet until a particular time you can speak about it. And that's just wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, certain things can,
Mm.
but sorry. So tell us about upcoming events that people can see you performing at,
Well,
whether locally or internationally.
right now, we just released the album, right? And to be honest with you, we don't even think about bookings because we life a ministry. A ministry, me there side right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And call me today. You understand? Mark a relationship, you know, because me not really too move too easy.
Yeah.
But this is ministry for me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? We just finished Pure Fest. I just launched an album and I'm back in the platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I preached last Sunday, I could preach this Sunday. That is my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ministry. So when bookings come, but when I live a life for bookings,
Mm-hmm.
you understand? So I can't tell you offhand, like, okay, I have this to do right now. Because I'm not going to make it go on like I'm busier than anybody else. The fact of the matter is this, I'm always doing something because my life is ministry. And that means that when I leave here, so my phone could ring, and I hear say, Pastor, something happened, you have to come to hospital, come pray. That's my life. So I'm
Okay.
a servant.
Okay, good. So great interview.
Blessings, man.
Love the energy. I respect you.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is the closing of the Yard podcast. And when the album are pushed,
Mm-hmm.
big up. We are big up.
All right. First and foremost, just want to say big up to all my supporters, right? All the people who pray for me, all the people who, you know what I mean, whatever any way you support. Thank you very much. And also big up again to all the producers, Slider the Wizard, Danny Brownie, Maria Lawrence, DJ Shane, everybody who put effort into the album. Thank you guys very much. It's not taken for granted. And I just want to say big up Jamaica, big up my country. I love my country. We're not going good Jamaica, you know, and we have to get it right. We have to get it right. Too much crime, violence, raping, extortion. We have to get it right, Jamaica. But I love you nonetheless, and I'm praying for you.
All right, and so welcome to the closing part of another episode of the Art Podcast. And I'm your host, Brandon Frenzy Inc. And I want to big up my sponsors, Slider the Wizard Music. And share, like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Until another episode again, I'm out.